Welcome back to Empowered Creative Living for Authors and Aspiring Writers podcast. We're diving into AuthorTube today.
Ooh, fun.
It's like the corner of YouTube where writers share their journeys and tips and, all that bookish love.
I've seen a few of those channels. Seems like a natural space for authors these days.
Yeah, and we've got a great guide to help us unpack it all. A recent blog post by Regina Paul.
Oh, yeah, she's great.
She's an author, but also, an artist and intuitive.
Yeah.
Her post was so thorough.
Yeah, and really up to date.
Always a relief when you're diving into something new, right?
Absolutely, and it's packed with practical advice.
Yeah, stuff you can actually use.
Exactly.
So one of the things that jumped out at me was her emphasis on defining your channel's niche and target audience.
Yeah.
It sounds basic, but I bet it's something a lot of people skip.
It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a new project, right?
Oh, for sure. So guilty of that myself sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like starting a book without knowing your genre or your ideal reader.
Well, that's a good way to put it. You'd be all over the place.
Exactly. Building an AuthorTube channel is no different. You need to be intentional about who you're trying to reach and what you're offering.
Okay, so let's say you've got your niche and target audience figured out. What about content?
Well, Regina Paul dives into content strategy next, and
I was blown away by all the ideas.
it's a lot, yeah.
We're talking writing tips, vlogs, book reviews, Q&As.
Even live writing sprints.
Whoa, wait, hold on. People watch those.
Apparently. It sounds kind of cool, though, right? Writing along with your viewers live?
It could be super motivating.
Regina Paul seems to think it's great for building community, for sure.
Yeah, maybe like a virtual writing group.
Exactly. It makes you think about which content types are most exciting and, sustainable for you personally.
Yeah, you need that initial spark,
Mm-hmm.
but also got to think long term, what you can actually keep up.
Okay, so let's move on to the tech side. Equipment. What do you actually need to start on AuthorTube?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. A lot of people probably feel intimidated by that part.
I get it, but Regina Paul says you don't need a Hollywood studio. She actually says, I'll bet you have 1 to 3 of these already.
What does she mean?
Just basic stuff like a smartphone, a decent microphone, and some simple lighting.
Oh, okay, that's a relief. I was surprised she called out a good microphone as more important than a fancy camera.
Makes sense, though. Have you ever clicked away from a video because the audio is terrible?
Ugh, all the time. So distracting.
Exactly. High-quality audio is key for keeping people engaged.
Okay, so equipment sorted. Now what about video editing? That's always the part that feels most daunting to me.
It can be intimidating for sure, but Regina Paul assures us that basic editing is enough to get started.
Okay, good. So no need for, super slick Hollywood-style productions.
Nope. And there are user-friendly tools available.
Like what?
CapCut and Canva are great for beginners.
Oh, yeah, Canva.
Exactly. A lot of people are already familiar with Canva.
Okay, time to tackle the least fun part, maybe. SEO.
It's not the most glamorous, that's for sure.
It's like the vegetables of online content creation.
Haha, but think of SEO as simply helping the right people find your videos.
That's a much better way to look at it.
It's about making your content discoverable.
Okay, so how do we actually do that?
Regina Paul gives some good tips. Use relevant keywords in your titles, descriptions, and tags. Put yourself in the viewer's shoes and think what they might search for.
Right, so it's not about keyword stuffing, but about being strategic.
Exactly. And it's an ongoing process, not a one-time thing. You'll refine your strategy over time.
That's a good point. I tend to forget about the SEO stuff after I create the content.
It happens.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to branding.
This is interesting. Regina Paul emphasizes that it's more than just a logo.
It's about a cohesive visual identity, something that reflects your style and voice.
Like those AuthorTube channels you just instantly recognize.
Exactly. She recommends a consistent color palette, typography, tagline.
And even a recognizable style for your video thumbnails.
It's all about that visual consistency so viewers know it's you.
I love that. It builds trust, too.
Absolutely. It's about familiarity and reliability.
Okay, before we go any further, I want to encourage everyone to check out Regina Paul's blog. It's www.reginapaul.com. She's got so much good stuff there, especially if you're interested in AuthorTube.
Definitely worth a visit. So,
Now let's talk about audience engagement. This is something Regina Paul really stresses.
yeah, it's crucial.
She sees it as essential for building a community, for connecting with your viewers.
It's not just broadcasting, right? It's a two-way thing.
Right. She gives some great tips like replying to comments, asking questions in your videos.
And hosting live events.
It's about showing up for your audience and showing you care about their thoughts.
Exactly. Live events can be a great way to create that sense of community, too.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk about collaboration.
Oh, yeah, this is fun.
Regina Paul suggests it's a smart strategy for growth and also a way to connect with other creators.
I love that she emphasizes the fun part.
She's got some great ideas like co-hosting events, doing challenges together, featuring each other in videos,
It's a win-win. You get to tap into each other's audiences, learn from each other.
and create content that feels like exciting and new.
Exactly. Speaking of exciting, let's talk data analysis.
Data analysis.
I know it might not sound thrilling, but Regina Paul reframes it as listening to your audience through data.
Okay, I like that. Tell me more.
It's about using data to understand what's resonating with viewers.
What's working, what's not.
Yeah, and how you can improve your content.
Okay, so how do we actually listen through data?
She talks about tracking things like watch time, how long people are actually sticking around,
Oh, that makes sense.
and click-through rate. How enticing are your titles and thumbnails?
You can see what's drawing people in.
And demographics to get a sense of who your audience actually is.
This is cool. You're getting direct feedback from your viewers.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about monetization.
Ah, yes, the M word. A lot of creators are probably wondering about that.
Of course, it's natural to want to earn money from your creative work.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that Regina Paul emphasizes that it should always feel authentic.
Right. It shouldn't be a cash grab.
It should add value for your audience.
So what are some of the methods she suggests?
She covers a lot of ground, actually. The YouTube partner program, affiliate marketing, merchandise.
Even promoting writing services.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility to find what works best for you and your audience.
It's amazing to see how many possibilities there are.
It is, and you don't have to choose just one method either. You can experiment and find a combination that feels right.
It's about finding that sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Doing what you love and making it sustainable.
That's it. Speaking of sustainable, we got to talk about burnout. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle of content creation.
Oh yeah, especially video. It can be really demanding.
Regina Paul talks about that, actually, and she suggests batch producing your videos.
Like what? Making a bunch at once?
Yeah, so you're not always feeling the pressure to film and edit something new every week.
That's smart. It's like meal prepping, but for AuthorTube.
Exactly. And just like you need to nourish your body, you need to nourish your creative spirit, too.
Oh.
She talks about scheduling regular time for yourself, for recharging and doing things you enjoy outside of creating.
Makes sense. I love that she also highlights finding inspiration in the AuthorTube community.
Yeah. It's easy to feel isolated as a creator.
Totally. But connecting with others, going through the same thing, that can be so grounding.
Like a built-in support system.
Okay, let's talk about promoting your AuthorTube channel beyond just YouTube. Getting it out there, you know?
Cross-promotion. Yeah, Regina Paul has some good ideas, like sharing snippets on social media.
Oh yeah, like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
Even Substack, you can embed videos on your website too.
And announce new uploads in your newsletter.
It's all about driving traffic back to your YouTube channel.
I love the idea of repurposing content too.
Oh yeah, me too. Like turning a video into a blog post or the other way around.
It maximizes your work, you know?
And she even mentions using AI tools to help with that.
AI. What like?
Things like Google's Notebook LM. It can help streamline things.
Okay, circling back for a sec, I want to touch on something Regina Paul really emphasizes, which is sharing your authentic writing journey.
Yeah.
Being real, being vulnerable, connecting with your audience on a personal level.
It's what makes AuthorTube so compelling, don't you think?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not about perfection, it's about the shared experience of being a writer.
The ups and the downs, the struggles.
Those behind-the-scenes glimpses, I think viewers really connect with that.
It makes them feel less alone in their own creative struggles.
Okay, last thing. Gotta stay up to date on trends, right?
YouTube is constantly changing.
How do we keep up without losing our own voice?
It's a balance. Regina Paul suggests experimenting with popular formats.
Like what?
Things like day in the life, vlogs, reaction videos, challenges. But she says put your own spin on them.
That's key. Find that balance between what's current and what feels true to you.
Absolutely. Okay, let's zoom out for a sec and talk about the long-term benefits of AuthorTube. It's more than just subscribers, right?
Right. It's about building a platform, connecting with readers.
Establishing yourself as an authority in your genre.
Regina Paul mentioned some amazing possibilities. Connecting with literary agents or publishers, growing your readership.
Strengthening your personal brand as an author.
Whoa, yeah. This is about more than just videos. It's an investment in your writing career.
Absolutely. It's about cultivating a community around your work, building relationships with readers.
This has got me thinking about all the ways we can leverage AuthorTube.
It's such an exciting space.
Before we go further, I want to remind everyone to check out Regina Paul's website again.
It's a great resource.
It's www.reginapaul.com. She's got so much valuable info there.
Okay, so let's dive into some of the things Regina Paul emphasizes.
I'm really struck by her focus on sharing your authentic writing journey,
What do you think she means by that?
being real with your viewers, letting them see the ups and the downs of your creative process.
The struggles, the triumphs, the inspiration, even the writer's block meltdowns?
It's about showing them that you're human, just like them.
I love that. It's about embracing the messiness of the process, not being afraid to show vulnerability.
Letting viewers into your world, showing them what it's really like to be a writer.
I think that vulnerability is what creates a strong connection with viewers. Makes them feel like they're not alone.
Makes them feel seen and understood.
So powerful. Building a community based on shared experiences and a love for writing.
Inspiring each other to keep creating.
Speaking of inspiration, how do we stay inspired as AuthorTube creators? It's easy to get bogged down in the day-to-day, you know?
Oh yeah, you got to find ways to keep that spark alive.
What are your go-to strategies?
For me, it's connecting with other creators
Makes sense.
and constantly learning. I love workshops, reading about content creation, just chatting with other writers.
It keeps things fresh, right?
Yeah, reminds me why I love this.
I think it's important to remember why you started in the first place, too.
That initial spark, the message you want to share.
Okay, gotta talk about this. Dealing with negativity,
Ugh.
criticism. It's inevitable, right? It's tough putting yourself out there.
How do you recommend handling it?
Remember, not everyone is gonna love your work.
So true.
And that's okay. You can't please everyone.
It's easy to take it personally, though.
It is, but you gotta develop a thick skin.
Don't let it get to you.
Sometimes those negative comments are just people projecting their own insecurities.
It's not really about you.
Yeah, negativity often comes from a place of pain.
Ignore it. Focus on the positive.
You can always delete comments, block people who are being abusive.
Right, you don't have to tolerate that.
Okay, finding your voice, that's essential.
How do writers develop their own unique voice on AuthorTube?
Be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not.
Don't copy others.
Don't follow trends that don't feel right.
Embrace what makes you different.
That's what makes you interesting.
Takes time, though, right?
It's a process, for sure. Experimentation and self-discovery.
Don't be afraid to try new things.
Trust that your voice will emerge.
Some practical tips for making engaging videos.
Oh, yeah, good one.
Storytelling.
Oh, for sure.
People love stories.
Weave them into your videos.
Personal anecdotes, behind-the-scenes stuff,
Visuals are super important, too.
high-quality footage, graphics.
Think about the visual experience.
Humor is important, too, right?
Absolutely. Show your personality. Let people see your fun side.
Okay, consistency.
Yes, the struggle.
It can be tough to create content regularly.
But it's key for building an audience.
People are more likely to subscribe if they know what to expect.
Create a realistic schedule.
One that you can actually stick to.
Don't try to do too much too soon.
Start small. Take breaks when you need them.
Make it enjoyable for yourself.
Okay, collaborating with other YouTubers.
That can feel intimidating.
Putting yourself out there.
But most YouTubers are really supportive.
Yeah, the YouTube community is pretty amazing, actually.
Don't be afraid to reach out to people whose work you admire.
Start by commenting on their videos, engaging on social media.
Build relationships.
Find creators who align with your values.
And when you do collaborate, promote it everywhere.
Cross-promotion is key.
Building a community is so important too.
It's not just about the content, it's about connection.
Engage with your audience.
Respond to comments, answer questions, host live events,
Show them you care.
create a safe and supportive environment,
Where everyone feels welcome.
celebrate your wins. It's easy to forget to do that.
Oh yeah, we get so caught up in the next goal.
How do we cultivate that sense of gratitude?
Take time to reflect on how far you've come.
Look back at your old work. Acknowledge your progress.
Celebrate your wins, big or small.
Share them. Treat yourself.
Acknowledge your awesomeness.
Give yourself permission to celebrate.
Recognize that it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Okay, one more thing. Staying true to yourself.
This is so important.
It's easy to get lost in trends and comparisons.
Remember why you started creating?
What was that initial spark?
What message do you want to share?
Stay connected to your purpose, your values,
Trust that your voice is valuable.
even if it doesn't fit in a box.
Embrace your individuality.
Trust that the right audience will find you.
You don't have to be perfect.
In fact, your imperfections might be what make you relatable.
Show up as your authentic self.
trust that the right people will connect with your message.
Well said.
This has been such an inspiring conversation.
I'm feeling so energized.
I'm excited to see what people create.
Me too. AuthorTube has so much potential.
Before we wrap up, let's remind everyone about Regina Paul's website one last time.
Yeah, go check it out.
It's www.reginapaul.com, a fantastic resource for writers.
Especially if you're interested in AuthorTube.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to wrap up this episode with some final thoughts. All right, welcome back to Empowered Creative Living for Authors and Aspiring Writers podcast. We're wrapping up our deep dive into AuthorTube today.
It's been a lot of info, right?
So much good stuff. Let's recap those key takeaways.
Yeah, where do you even start?
Right.
It can feel kind of overwhelming.
Okay, so back to the basics.
What's your niche? Who are you trying to reach?
That's a good place to start. Once you know that, you can plan your content.
And remember, you don't need a fancy studio or anything.
It's just the basics.
A smartphone, decent microphone, and you're good to go.
No more excuses, right?
Exactly. Just start creating.
And don't get caught up in trying to make it perfect.
As you go, remember all those strategies.
Engage with your audience, collaborate,
Use data to see what's working.
and don't forget about authenticity.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
Share your journey. Be vulnerable.
But also, take care of yourself.
Burnout is real.
Take breaks when you need them.
Stay curious about trends, but
Always prioritize your own voice and style.
I'm so excited to see what our listeners create after this.
Me too. AuthorTube has so much potential.
Okay, before we go, I have one final question.
Okay, shoot.
What's one story, one insight, something you'd be excited to share on your AuthorTube channel?
Ooh, that's a good one.
What feels authentic to you? What do you think would connect with other people?
That's something to think about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
This was fun.
And be sure to check out Regina Paul's website, www.reginapaul.com.
So many great resources there.
And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode.
Connect with us on social media. Let us know what you learned.
Until next time, happy writing and happy AuthorTubing.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Empowered Creative Living for Authors and Aspiring Writers podcast.